the interesting discussion has already begun, I'm afraid, during our break. But we're now going to discuss with you something that is very interesting. We're going to teach you or share with you how to study someone's face, because by doing so, you can read that person and perhaps even their life story. And this is possible through a technique simply called face reading. Just by looking at the eyes or the wrinkles, which I have many of on my face, one can read many stories.
Yes, and also by looking at the similarity of the characteristics of the eyes, bones, nose, and lips, we can find out a person's true personality. So in short, it is a technique where we can see someone's character and potential. So today we will learn about it. Face reading from a certified face reader coach, Yudi Candra. Good morning, Yudi.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Honestly, this is the first time I've ever heard about face reading.
Oh, wow.
And then I Googled it, and there's actually sort of like a course on how to do face reading. So this is actually a knowledge. Tell us about this new knowledge that I'm getting myself familiarized with.
Yeah, for me too.
Yeah.
So what do you want to know about it?
Yeah, what is face reading? Where did it come from? What's the history of face reading?
All right, so there are two types of face reading. One come from Chinese.
Oh, yes, yes.
The other one come from the West.
Yes.
So what I learned is based on the West.
Right.
So it's actually started from the Edward Vincent Jones. He's actually a judge in US, where he look at the faces of inmates, you know, doing some research and finding the similarities between faces, and then actually formulate something so you can actually know about the person's face just by looking at it.
Right, right.
When we're talking face, we're talking expressions or structure?
We are talking about structures.
Structure.
Structure.
Wow.
So about your nose, it's about your eyes, the distance of your eyes, how big your nose is, even your nostrils,
Right.
your mouth, the skeletons, you know, the shape of your heads. Yeah, and many things.
I would have thought that a lot of that was predetermined at birth, and then your
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of personality kind of grows as you get older, right? That's
Yeah,
very
yeah.
interesting
Yeah.
that can be determined by that.
Yeah, so how does it work then?
Well, actually, to put it simple, you just look at the face. Just use your eyes, just like reading books. But then, if you want to know further, then you got to do some measurement.
Measurements.
Actual measurements.
So that's why you have these tools.
Oh,
Yes.
wow, okay. I see
Right.
that.
So
Okay.
what are these tools that you have here?
So I have this to
What
measure
is
the
that?
hair.
The
Hair.
hair.
Yes.
The diameter of
Seriously?
the hair?
Yeah.
Look at this. This is to measure the diameter of the hair. Okay, and then what else?
And with that, you can actually know how sensitive you are and how insensitive somebody is.
I cannot wait to be the guinea pig. Yeah, and then what else?
And with this, you can actually
This one.
find out how talented you are with your hands. Your hand
Hands?
dexterity, whether you're good in doing a massage. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
So
something
this
like
is
that.
to measure your hands.
Yeah, how good you are with your hands. How
Okay.
skillful you are. For
Okay.
example, like if you, like me, I like to go to the massage, right?
Yeah, me too.
Okay, good. So you can actually look at the hands first, and
You can tell if you're going to have a good
goodness.
massage session or not.
That's so great.
so no matter where I go, I always find a good massage.
Let me see your hands first. Okay, you're good to go.
And actually, he is pretty good in doing massage.
Okay, well, you know what? My wife tells me the same thing. Because she's like, yeah, I got this knot on my back. You get it out for me.
Yeah.
I just figured because I go to
Wow.
the gym a lot, I have strong hands. But I have been told that I'm, like, sports-wise, I am good with my hands when it comes to sports activity.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe
yeah,
that's
yeah.
why too. Yeah.
So that's what I see. I mean, like, so
Okay.
I looking at your hands without your, you know.
Yeah.
Without me even noticing.
Yeah.
So, what sort of things can this be helpful for? Because
Yes.
we mentioned personality. What are some of the traits? Like obviously skills, like whether you can be skillful or not. Well, what are some of the things other things you can tell just by face reading?
That's a lot.
Oh, really?
I mean, like.
We mentioned potential. Like potential for what?
Yeah, potential, like, for example, like, what talent will you have?
Okay, like
You know?
musical talent.
Musical
or
talents can.
physical-
Yeah.
Really?
And like, I mean, if you look at some of the speakers, people who speak, you know, comedian, whether they can actually speak in the moment.
Right.
You know,
Oh,
like
yeah, spontaneously.
spontaneously. And how they can actually react quickly.
Okay.
Soccer players, for example, like whether you're good playing soccer or you're better in playing basketball.
Right.
Or those kind of things. Like whether somebody can be hired to become a salesperson, standing up, or standing up or sitting down. Because some people doesn't like to stand up for a long time.
Okay.
Right.
It's gonna hurt their backs.
So it would be not a good door-to-door salesman, for example,
Yeah.
because they would have to be on their feet.
Oh, you know what? Like there's a big challenge for people to find waiters. You know, waiters
true.
have to stand up.
That's true.
And if they find out people with the long leg, they cannot stand up for a long time because
Right.
it's gonna hurt their backs.
Yes.
You know?
I see.
Yeah.
So it's basically learning the anatomy of.
And that's me as well. Yeah.
Right. So I would like to be a guinea pig. I would like you to
Could you
experiment
show
with
how
me.
you would measure something on Marissa? Could it,
Yeah.
could be, would it be your hair? Does that make sense? We would have to pull one out of your head.
Do we
Oh,
have to
nah, you don't have to do that. And the good things about face reading is if you learn, you can actually do it by yourself. I mean, like everybody can do it.
Okay.
Did you do it to yourself, and what was the result?
Well,
Did it tell you would be a really good face reader?
I mean, the result is, yeah, good and bad. You know,
Okay.
like everybody,
Always.
nobody's perfect.
Of
Okay.
course, of course.
But I can see that she's more detailed than me.
Okay.
You know, very
Really?
detailed persons from the distance of your eyes.
Oh,
Yeah.
the
Okay.
distance of my
Yeah.
eyes.
She is
so
very detail-oriented. Before the program, she prepares all the little things that she needs to
she's done her
to be in
homework.
place. Okay.
That's interesting.
Done her homework. So, well, it's easy. I mean, like once you know the ABC,
Yeah.
then you can just reading the book.
Analyze me.
That's it.
What sort
That's
of
it.
what sort of things is this
Yeah.
useful for? For you, obviously, you coach this as well, so people can do. But
For recruitment.
right,
Definitely,
But
definitely, it helps.
really, okay.
So that's how it started.
Yeah.
Actually, as a business coach, the first problem that people come to me is they say, Coach, I cannot get the right people for
Hiring.
my business.
Correct, hiring, human
Very
resources.
hard, very hard.
Yes.
And then I have to find a way, I have to find a way, something's practical, something easy, something's not easily manipulated.
Right. Because people lie in the interviews all the time in job
Yeah,
interviews,
they
right?
do,
You can't
they
listen to
do.
what people say.
But they're not gonna do a,
Can't change your
face
face.
surgery
Yes.
to go to the interview,
Right, right.
They're not gonna do that.
Okay.
So that's why I'm looking for something, I'm looking for tools. And also I myself got problems with relationship in that time.
Okay.
You go into a relationship for quite a while and then suddenly you find out, this is not
Not working.
like what's it advertised to,
Right.
Right.
So that's what happens. So I learned to do this because I don't like something hocus pocus.
Okay.
My mom bring me to the face readers and say that you have a good luck, those kind of things, but there is no base on it.
Right.
You know?
facts are
Right.
just
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
Especially with the Chinese family, because I'm also a little bit Chinese.
Okay.
Same.
You know, when you
Yeah,
too,
we
yeah.
have these beliefs, certain beliefs.
Yeah,
Right?
like reading tea leaves,
Yes.
or also like, you have to choose the name. The Chinese name should be this. And
The
this
right
and
name, so
this,
they'll turn out to be the right person. Yeah. There's a lot of it based on what we believe and what our ancestors believe.
Yeah.
But face reading is something that is more concrete. So how accurate is it then when you're in all the times that you've done this?
Well, if you use the tools, it could go up to 95% accuracy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But you use the face grid. This is face grid.
What is that?
Can you practice it on me? How do we do this?
It's a face grid. It measures your face.
Like this? Do I put it
Well,
like
I mean, like in a certain ways, like you,
Can
because
you-
you
How would
cannot
you use
just-
that? Yeah.
How would you use it? You can use it on me. You do.
Right.
Please. Because I want to know how this
This is
works.
a measurement.
So there's measurements between
These
1
are
to 4. Yeah.
Well, you can use it for her eyes, for example.
Right.
Like,
So the space between the eyes you would measure.
yeah, you can see. You can see.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's transparent.
Like if you look at the left hand, you see how many?
Yeah.
It's like 1 to 2, yeah?
Okay.
But the distance is less than that. It's like here, right?
All right.
You see?
Yes.
And what does that mean? That means if you want to put another eyes in the middle,
It won't fit.
You
it won't fit.
cannot.
Right.
It won't fit. So it shows that she has a very close-set eyes.
Okay.
And a close-set eyes means focus. So imagine, if your eyes are like this,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's like a, how do you call it? A center, I forgot what the name
Oh,
is.
I
flashlight.
see.
Flashlight,
Yes.
sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if it's like this, it's more focus.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, physically, it makes sense, right? Logically, it makes sense because the eyes are closer to each other.
Yes.
So, and thus you have better focus. as
That would
well.
be the scientific reasoning
would be
behind
the
it.
scientific
That's why you
reasoning
can read
behind
for long periods of time because
I
you're-
can.
Right?
I love reading.
And you're very focused.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
You're very detailed.
Some aspects, some aspects.
But the
yes.
good thing is, she doesn't like to criticize even though she find out about something.
Very
Yeah.
true.
Unless I'm being pushed.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody does.
Yeah, unless I'm being pushed, and then I will say,
Enough is enough.
this is what I.
That's
think.
very true.
Yeah.
So, okay. You know what they say about people with far-set eyes?
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Great peripheral vision. Okay. So those are just a couple. Okay, that's just one thing can tell you that much about it. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then what else? What else
and,
can you
and if you look
see?
at her eyes angle is actually going up.
Oh, what does
Look at
that mean?
It's going up.
Yeah.
So that means she doesn't like to criticize people.
Okay.
Oh, is
you
that
know,
it? If it
the
goes
quality.
up.
Some people are very perfectionist. They have close-set eyes, the angle's gone down,
Yeah. That would be
then they
perfect.
complain about everything.
Really?
Yeah. They can find, like a tiny spot in everything.
Oh,
Okay.
gosh.
Yeah, that's your perfectionist presence.
Right. I was a perfectionist, though. I think I still am.
Maybe you used to look down a lot, and now you look up more. Maybe.
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
without you
Yeah.
realizing.
Yeah. What else? What about my nose?
Your nose. Well,
Tiny.
Yeah. What can the nose tell about you?
Tiny.
if you look at the tip of her nose, right, it shows that she likes to find information. So you can imagine somebody who's detailed, like to find some information.
Yes.
She's done her homework before she met me.
Right? Very
That's a
true.
big possibility,
Very true.
you know? But she doesn't mean any harm. Finding information, some people finding information to attack somebody.
Oh,
Not her.
dear. That's
Not her.
bad.
Right.
But she
Yeah.
knows what happens, with her friends. She knows what happened with what happened around the world, She just loves to learn.
It's very true. Earlier we talked about coffee, and 2 minutes later she immediately sent me a full article detailing all the facts behind how coffee prices will go up because of climate change.
Yes.
I would like to ask you a question in regards to, you say it's hard to lie with your face structure, but many people are getting face augmentations these days.
Oh, yeah.
Fillers and Botox and changing the shape.
Yeah.
Can you see through that, or does that
Oh, yeah.
change your...
You're right,
How
Yudi.
does that work?
That's a good
yeah.
question.
Yeah.
For example, let me ask you a question. If your face changed into something else,
Yes.
Yeah.
all right, become like 10 times more beautiful.
I know what you're going to ask me.
All right.
Will my personality change with
you
it?
change?
It likely will.
Yes.
You're right. I'll become more confident. I'll become more, if that's the part that I wasn't happy about, I might be happier now that it looks better. That's a very good point. So you're actually changing with your face. Wow, that's
Yeah,
amazing.
That's
And I'll give you another point.
Okay?
When you were a baby, will you look like this?
No. I was a lot cuter.
with fuller cheeks.
And you had different personality in that time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I sure I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, all babies have similar personality
They do. They have similar.
because they do look pretty similar.
They all look the same. Yeah, a lot of them look the same. Very much so.
Yeah.
Good point. Oh,
Yeah.
all right. That answers that.
I hope that answers.
So what do you do in that case though? Like you'll just still read the face as it is then, right? If somebody has changed their face and augmented it, I'll just read you as you are.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's because you cannot really change the strain of your hair.
That's true. Yes.
No,
Some things you
yeah.
can't change.
Yeah.
Baby hair. Yeah.
And you're not gonna change how close your eyes to each other's,
Yeah, yeah, you're right.
you move
Your
your
nose,
eyes
maybe
so
you
that-
can,
yeah.
but yeah.
I have one more question in regards to how this can be used. You mentioned that the one who came up with the Western technique of face reading was a judge, and he used inmates in order to gather all his data. can this be used in something like law enforcement where a person's criminal's traits can be tried to be read as a support for their case or anything?
Yes, actually.
It has, yeah?
Yes.
Law enforcement can...
But a lot of people ask me about the face of politicians.
Yeah.
You know, or
That'd be a good one.
people who probably will be in troubles with the,
Yeah.
with the law.
Right.
Yeah.
I would rather not. ask
Okay.
that.
No, absolutely not. I just assumed that, if you're wondering about a certain suspect and you would like to know,
Yeah.
it would be helpful to have a technique like this just to be able
It
to tell
would
you
be.
more about the person, right?
But also, I can't help but think of, like sometimes people who look like villains, they surprise us. They're actually super nice.
Plot twist.
So yeah, I am sort of like conflicted between the potential of face reading in labeling a person. And we know that labeling a person can have a very strong impact. It can be a positive impact, but it can also be a negative impact, right? So how do you balance so that such knowledge is not going to be used as a labeling method on people?
Well, I always believe that, like a lot of people ask me, Coach, is this person a bad person?
Yeah, it's a common question.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a common question, right?
yeah.
And I
Because you
always-
want to be careful. You don't want to get hurt, right?
Yeah. And I always say, like that person might not be good to you, but it might not be bad to his children and family.
Tapi,
So your face might, indicate something, but it's still your free will whether you want to do that or not.
Okay.
oh, your
Yeah.
free will
Your free
on
will.
what to do with that information that you have.
Yes.
Okay.
Like for example,
Yeah.
I talked about your face before that you are a very detailed person, but you can choose to ignore it.
Yeah.
Pretend that you don't
can
know
Choose.
for the name of whatever, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
love, family,
Yeah.
or okay, I'll just pretend it that I've never seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nowadays it's kind of hard because a lot of people are very susceptible, especially when they're wobbly. I feel that when a person is psychologically a little bit unstable, it's very easy to convince them, and I think that's what we need to be careful about. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's like to also use our own judgment, like you said earlier. Like we have this information, but it is your decision to decide what to do with the information.
Yeah. And on both ends of the spectrum, whether or not I'm happy with the way my personality is read. I mean, 95% success rate is no joke. I mean, it's quite accurate. At the same time, we as the receivers of information, if I know what you're actually like, I mean, it's still in my hands on, hey,
Yeah.
you're still cool with me. We
Yeah.
can still vibe and get along. I'm
Yeah.
not really going to judge you based on your
Yeah.
personality or how close your eyes are.
And also, it is also good too, because you mentioned earlier, when you try to read yourself, you see the good and the bad. And it's always, the good is nice to hear and to keep improving. The bad is also a note that we can
Absolutely.
reflect on, right? It's like, oh, maybe I am like this. Let me just have a look. Let me just analyze. Okay, if I'm really like this and there is proof around this information, then probably it will be a good opportunity for me to improve myself.
Good trigger,
Yeah.
good starting point to change.
Yeah.
This has been great and very insightful, Masida. I'm really glad to
Thank
have
you
met
so
you.
much,
And
Yudi.
Thank you for having me.
yeah, this is it's a very powerful tool to have, I feel like. Right?
I'm going to research, you're right. I'm going to research deeper about this because this is really interesting. I mean, we grew up with our parents
Yeah.
doing all the
all the
Chinese
traditional stuff,
ramalan,
yeah.
which was cute, but this is something new. I'm going to look into.
One quick question before I know we're running out of time. What does the hair tell you?
Yeah.
I'm just curious about that.
It's very important.
Okay, what is that?
It tells you how sensitive you are.
Sensitive.
Sensitive in what way? Like,
In many ways. Like, I'll give you an example, simple example. In certain area of Indonesia, there are people with thick hair.
really
Yes,
thick hair.
very
true, of
Yes.
course, thick hair.
Yeah.
And mostly, they speak louder. And they do a lot of things that is like with the elements, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
boxing, those kind of things.
right,
you know,
right.
they are not that sensitive. But in some area that people speak slower and speak softer,
Yeah.
they usually have thinner hair.
Finer hair.
That's interesting.
And they have a lot of talents in creativity.
Oh, less physical, more creative.
Yeah. So you can actually classify people and you can know a lot about people from their hair. Relationships very important as well.
In what way?
Yeah. Most men are interested in girls who are sensitive.
Right, right.
And the girls are attracted to the man because of the macho-ness. And that thing will lead into trouble later on.
Right, right.
Because the girl will say, why aren't you not sensitive? Don't you love me
It's very true.
as
man.
much? And the guys will say, you are just too
You're
sensitive.
too sensitive, right?
Check the hair before you get married or come to my workshop.
This is a brand new thing I've never heard. I've heard about all the couples test, relationship test.
Yeah.
Just get a hair test and just compare your hair.
Just come to me. Just come to me. And there's a lot of, similarities between faces or, or differences between faces that can actually determine whether you will have a good relationship or not.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so interesting.
That makes sense,
Yeah, so now this is the homework that you have to do now if you're going to couple yourself with
Yes.
someone. I mean, not only you
Not
need
only,
to
yeah.
get to know the person, but also maybe this can be an add to the knowledge
Supposed to do a
collecting.
blood type test? Get a hair test while you're at it.
Yeah,
Right?
hey, blood type is also,
You're supposed
right?
to do the blood type test, but then while you're at it, just compare your strands of hair, right? It's no big deal.
Exactly.
Once again, thank you, Mas Yudi,
Thank
for
you
coming
so much,
by. We
Yudi.
really
Very
appreciate it. This is so
Very
interesting.
much.